Today I want to talk to you about why the INFJs just know things. Yeah, they just do. They just know a lot of things. They know a little bit about a lot of things. They don't know everything about everything, but someday they will. I'm only kidding. Yeah, why is that? They just seem to know things. Well, I'm going to give you some breakdowns as to why that is the case. Well, somehow I just know this, and I'm going to tell you how. Well, first of all, they have a functioning alignment, okay? So the INFJ right off the bat is introverted and intuitive. They're already in their head. They're always just in their mind. They're thinking a lot. They always are computing things, always in their mind. That's their dominant functions right there. That's their superpower, is to be in their mind just thinking constantly. Also, of course, the next function is extroverted feeling. This doesn't play too much into it, except the fact that maybe who they're talking to, maybe that they're describing things to, whether or not they're interested or whether or not they want to hear what they're saying, they may not even bother talking because the other person may or may not be interested. So that may depend on them. But so they'll keep that information to themselves at that point. But then the next third function is our introverted thinking. So you got the introverted thinking along with your introverted intuition and introversion, everything. That's all inside. Those are all internal thinking. So we're completely in our head thinking and processing things through the course of our life. So you think about that, and that gets me into the next. Number two is the fact that a lifetime of gathering information is the next function. Now, the INFJ, they could be children. They could be 5 years old in their backyard, or they could be playing with other kids. Maybe they see a fascinating insect, or maybe they watch an ant colony for hours, just watching. They may overturn a rock, and they may look at bugs and things and spiders, and they'll gather information and just be interested. And so they're gathering information even in small quantities, even as children. So they're always processing things even then. So at the course of the lifetime, this is what they do. And they start as early as they can. And even these processing development moments that they use, even as children, come back to actually help educate them in processing certain situations later on in their life as well. So they never stop learning, never stop gathering information. Also, they're gathering information for the most part. I know I was very much a reader as a kid. I used to go to libraries and I'd read atlases and I would read almanacs for hours. I would just go and read encyclopedias and things like that. I don't even know if there's too many encyclopedias nowadays, except for maybe in the old libraries that are just kind of in those shelves. I know nowadays everything's just online. It's on Google and stuff. But at the time, I would do that a lot. So I gathered quite a bit. Whatever I was interested in at the time, I would just sit and read books and things like that. So I think a lot of INFJs are known as being voracious readers and things like that. Always learning, always consuming information, gathering information. And that's just part of their makeup, as to their personality. They're always learning new things. Okay, so, and also, there's been studies about the neurodivergent INFJ. Now, this is a fairly new study. Whether or not all INFJs have a touch of neurodivergence, it's unclear. But the neurodivergent basically is just a really deeper way of processing the mind. It's almost like having a three-dimensional pattern mindset, and also having very vivid recollections of memories from events that took place, like I said, back in childhood even, where they're very, very cogent on things. So the neurodivergence is actually almost like a extra dimension of a way of processing their mind. And whether or not all INFJs are neurodivergent or how they use that is up to speculation. But understanding ourselves and understanding who we are, we might even know that we have a touch of that. The neurodivergence is our thought processing. And of course, at the time, now it all turns into lifetime analysis. And that's when, let's just say you're having a conversation. Let's just say you're trying to explain a situation to somebody. You're in a conversation about anything, whatever subject it might be. And at all this gathering information now will come into your mind. I mean, everything. It may come from the atlases, the books you read. It may come from these experiences as children. It may start converging at that moment, picking little pieces. It's almost like putting a jigsaw puzzle together at live time. You know, taking all these pieces and putting them together and figuring them out as you're speaking, as it's unfolding. A lot of times, if the INFJ is describing a situation or telling somebody something, a lot of times it's very accurate. It's very precise in what it is. It may not be 100% right. It may not be. I mean, because, you know, they're humans and they can make mistakes. But for the most part, what they're saying is very accurate. And a lot of times, as the INFJ is computing what they're saying, they're actually teaching their own ears what they're saying. It's almost like they're educating themselves in that moment. They're kind of actually baffling themselves, almost like surprising themselves as to what they're saying in that moment. And even they can't explain exactly how they're doing that, but they just do. So that's how the INFJ just seem to know things. It's from all the gatherings and all those functions kind of come back, and they all kind of laser focus at that time, and they all just start working at that moment. And like I said again, the INFJ for the most part has gathered plenty of information through the course of their lifetime. Sometimes they don't just tell people, they don't write everything down, they don't just always have it. A lot of these things that they know are just kind of stored in their own memory banks. They're almost like put in a shelf, like that library again. You know, they learn this little bit, here's that book, they put it up on their shelf, here's something else they learned, they put it in there. So it's almost like they have files, in a sense, of information that they've learned in the course of their lifetime that are just there. And sometimes they can pull those files out and they can put them into that description and that knowing of things in that moment if they're trying to talk about things or educate things about or whatever it might be. So anyway, people, that is it. That's basically the way I understand it. This is the way I see it and how it seems to work and how things function in that way. I don't know if I mentioned that this is the INFJ experience in the beginning. I can't remember, but this is our experience. So I would hope you'd please subscribe to my channel and please give me some thumbs up on this content. Let the algorithm also know that this content is appreciated and is liked, so that this can reach a bigger, broader audience. So more people will hear this kind of thing. So people, I hope you enjoyed that segment. Thank you again so much for your support. Give me some thumbs up. Give me some comments if you would, please. And until the next time, we'll see you then. Well, thank you so much and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day.